Before cities, before empires, before even the written word, humanity faced its darkest shadow. On the ancient plains of Africa, something terrible unfolded. A conflict so brutal, it left its scars etched in bone for 10,000 years. This isn't just a story about a battle. It's the story of the very first war. What drove our distant ancestors to turn on each other with such organized violence? Join us as we journey back in time to the shores of a prehistoric lake to uncover the chilling origins of human warfare. Imagine a time when humanity lived in small, nomadic groups, surviving day by day. For a long time, we believed this era was a peaceful one, a hunter-gatherer paradise. But a discovery in modern-day Kenya shattered that illusion. In 2012, near the shores of Lake Turkana, archaeologists unearthed a site now known as Nataruk. What they found there was not a peaceful settlement, but a scene of unimaginable horror. Skeletons, frozen in the agony of their last moments, scattered across the ancient landscape. This wasn't a burial ground. This was a massacre. Let's look closer at the evidence. The remains of at least 27 individuals were found, including men, women, and several children, and their bones tell a terrifying story. One man was found with a blade made of sharp obsidian still embedded in his skull. Another had his hands bound, suggesting he was a captive. A pregnant woman was discovered in a position that suggests she was tied up before being killed. Many skulls were brutally fractured, knees and hands shattered. This wasn't random violence or a family feud. The patterns of injury, the mix of victims, and the sheer scale of the slaughter point to a planned, organized attack by one group against another. This was warfare in its most nascent, terrifying form. To understand this conflict, we need to picture the world 10,000 years ago. The last ice age was ending, and the climate was changing dramatically. The Sahara, which is now a vast desert, was then a lush, green landscape of lakes and rivers. This region around Lake Turkana was a paradise, rich with fish, game, and edible plants. It was an oasis in a changing world, a place worth living for, and as we'll see, a place worth dying for. The people of Nataruk were hunter-gatherer fishers. They lived a semi-settled life, relying on the lake's abundant resources. This very abundance may have sown the seeds of conflict. So who were these attackers? Who were the first soldiers? We don't know their names or the language they spoke, but the evidence gives us clues. The weapons found at the site, arrowheads and blades, were made from materials not local to the Nataruk area. This suggests the attackers were outsiders, a roving band who traveled some distance with the intent to attack. They weren't just defending their territory. They were on the offensive. They carried clubs and projectiles, tools of hunting repurposed for killing their own kind. These weren't professional soldiers as we know them today, but they were a coordinated fighting force, united by a common violent purpose. They were the prototype for every army that would follow. This brings us to the ultimate question. Why? Why did this happen? Archaeologists believe the motive was resources. In a world of scarcity, the rich environment of Nataruk was a valuable prize. The attack wasn't just about killing. It was likely about eliminating competition. By wiping out the local group, the attackers could claim the territory, the food, and the water for themselves. It might have been a raid for resources, food, tools, or even people. The bound skeletons hint at the capture of prisoners. This conflict represents a dark turning point, the moment when humans began to see other humans not as kin, but as obstacles to be removed in the struggle for survival. It's a grim calculation that has echoed through countless wars since. The massacre at Nataruk is not just an isolated ancient tragedy, it is a profound echo from our own deep past. It challenges the romantic idea of a peaceful, noble savage and suggests that the capacity for organized group violence is as old as our own species. It tells us that war isn't just a product of civilization, states, or kings. Its roots may lie in the fundamental pressures of survival, competition, and our very nature as social, territorial animals. The same impulses that drove those raiders 10,000 years ago, fear, greed, and the desire to protect one's own group, are still powerful forces in the world today. Understanding this first war helps us understand the long, bloody history that followed. 10,000 years ago, on a quiet lakeshore, a line was crossed. The echoes of that day still resonate, reminding us of the fragility of peace and the dark potential that lies within us. The story of Nataruk is a sobering reminder that the history of our species is written not just in our triumphs and creations, but also in our conflicts and our capacity for destruction. It's a chapter of our shared past we must never forget as we strive to build a more peaceful future. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the deep past. If you found this story as fascinating and thought-provoking as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into history. We'll see you in the next video.